This is K.Flay coming to you live with a new episode of my weekly show, What Am I Doing Here? Where I ask big questions and little questions and even medium-sized questions. So, without further ado, let's start this episode. Yeah? Okay, let's do it. What am I doing here? 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 Right now, I'm in my studio at home, and I'm looking at my version of a blank screen. And I'm thinking, how am I going to fill this? What am I going to do? What am I going to make? Does it matter? How can I make it matter? I think I know at this point how to just sort of fill space, right? I'd like to fill it with meaning. I'd like to create something that matters to people. And so when I'm confronted with this nothingness, sometimes it's like the thing that squishes pasta, and it feels like it's on top of my head. I wanna create something that's of value, but I also want to do it authentically. And I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of people who are engaged in the constant pursuit of turning nothing into something. And I wanted to talk to them in a very real way about what does it feel like to look at this blank page, or look at this blank screen, or to look at a piano where no notes have been played. So for the next 2 episodes, I'm going to be talking to some of my favorite and most talented musical friends about how they sit down with nothing and turn it into something. Right now, I am sitting outside of a coffee shop in Los Angeles, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, but also one of my favorite creative people in the world, and that's Bishop Briggs, and we're catching up over some coffee. Coffee's often a very important part of the creative process. I almost spilled the coffee again. I'm like jittery. This is like a problem. I've had a lot of coffee. The first question and what we're really talking about is when you enter the blank page territory, how do you think about that? How do you make something, and what does it feel like?
I think first what comes to mind for me is thinking of moments that I felt alone. Like when did I feel alone in my thinking or in my feelings? And for me, it was when I Googled how to get through a breakup.
Totally. I think isolation, whether it's real or perceived, is a huge part of creation. Because I think on some level, creation is an act of desperation.
I think the best thing to do as a writer and as an artist is to write down what you would be ashamed of someone else hearing. The thing that always goes through my head is just tell the truth. Because I really feel that if you tell the truth, you can't lose. And even if you don't start off the page telling the truth, even if you started off being like, oh, I just really want to get orange juice from the store. It's like, why? And the reason is, well, I want to leave my apartment. Well, why? Well, it's really cluttered right now. Why? And just kind of dissecting, being the detective, and because it's not always easy to write, I need to escape my apartment because I'm unhappy in my relationship, or, whatever it is, or I feel uncomfortable in my skin. I feel like I am being too vulnerable to the point where I can't even bear it, that I can't even look at my wall, or whatever.
I think it's a very beautiful way to approach the creative process. Thank you for joining me here in lovely Los Angeles at our favorite coffee shop.
Right, of course. Thank you for having me.
Bum, bum, ba-dum. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Next up, I'm talking to my collaborator, Daly, who I've worked on the last 2 records with and who I absolutely love.
How are you? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Where are you right now?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, in the room that I work in. And I call it Mother Mary Kelly Studios.
You're in the den of creativity.
I am actually, yes. I'm in the midst of it as we speak.
So my first question is the blinking cursor. What is running through your mind, like, beginning of the day, whether you're working with me or working with a totally new artist that you've never met? Yeah, tell me about what that's like psychologically for you.
I tend to be like a paint and scrape type artist. Like there's never like a blank canvas with me. So there's never like, if I were to sit down and I were to see like the blinking cursor, I would type a word immediately. And it's kind of like, I almost never want to really figure out my process. I just know I got to get started. How my mind approaches it. I don't know if I really believe in like writer's block, because for me, I've never had that. I just have made some really horrible art, like with me, it's just kind of like, I love the beginning. If you were to just walk into, the studio, we were just to meet. That's kind of my favorite time, because it's just, we're throwing a whole bunch of stuff against the canvas and we're kind of just seeing what image is appearing, and we start.
I think you and I are similar and have been creatively very productive together, because I think we have the same attitude about writer's block, which is, how could we ever have it? Because there's always something to talk about, and maybe the song will be terrible.
Yeah.
But we can make it.
When I'm working with someone now as a producer, I think back to what it was like being that artist, and I just want to feel invincible, no idea is a bad idea. Let's hear it out. Because honestly, sometimes the possible worst idea is probably going to be the best one.
When I think about my own creative process and I talk to other people about it, it feels like great songs and great writing, they happen in a space of innocence. That lack of self-consciousness is maybe the linchpin for creativity.
I think all of my favorite artists, and I know all of your favorite artists, like, we love them because we believe them. It's believability. But it's these artists that we actually believe, where it's kind of like, wow, this is the only thing they can do with their life is tell this story right now. Those are my people.
When the world's not funny, but you need to laugh, it's joke time. What do you call a pop singer who is also a jeweler? Lord of the Rings.
Joke time.
So creativity is about loneliness. It's about relentlessly asking why. It's about never really starting with a blank page, filling the page. And I think more than anything, it's about retaining an unself-consciousness and an honesty with yourself and the world. So with all that in mind, my loyal listeners, go forth this week and be creative. If you want to talk to me about stuff on the internet, you can use the hashtag K.Flay Show, or you can email me at thekflayshow@gmail.com. And of course, you can listen to my new album, Solutions, everywhere that you like to listen to music. So there's a new episode of What Am I Doing Here every week. Be sure to set a reminder for the K.Flay Show after 9 a.m. on Wednesday.